Ween. If you've clicked on this video, I'm going to already assume you know who Ween is, but in case you didn't know for whatever reason, they made Ocean Man, you know, like the song from SpongeBob, like the sponge. In all seriousness, Ween is a band consisting of Gene Ween and Dean Ween. Special shout out to Mean Ween. Formed in 1984. Ween are the mega weirdos of alt rock, though putting them in one genre is like saying bread is only made for toast. There's a billion other things both Bread and Ween can create. Anyway, starting from 1990 and ending in 2007, Ween have 9 studio albums, and I'm going to go over them all as fast as I can, starting with
Hi, I'm fucking Eddie Dingle.
Released in 1990, this was Gene and Ween's first studio album. Yeah. This album pretty much just sounds like 2 teenagers having dumb fun, because that's pretty much what it was. It has that early, like, lo-fi Ween sound, like recorded on tape recorder type sound. When I first listened to it, it's a loud album. It's a brash and a loud album. It's the only Ween album to date that has given me a headache. I'd listened to the pod before that. Somehow that didn't give me a headache. This did. It's not my favorite Ween album. Some people fucking adore this album. I don't really have much to say about it. I didn't mind it. It wasn't bad. For songs I did like though, Wayne's Pet Youngin' fucking slaps. That song is a good song. Nan is also a fun one. It's very quirky. Whilst album isn't for everyone, it's fun. It's dumb fun.
2 polo style tacos with 1 beef chimichanga.
I would say the pod is probably just Godwin Satan, but better. At least for me. It has a very similar sound to Godwin Satan, that lo-fi brown tape recordy fucking let me inhale a bunch of Scotch Guard and make a fucking album sound. But it has a bit more like creativity and depth to it than God We Satan, or at least I think it does. While everything God We Satan is very just in your face and blasted into you, the pod actually does have some different moments of subtlety, and I don't know, it just does a bit more than God We Satan. For songs I liked out of the album, Strap on That Jammy Pack, the starting song, literally feels like you are being fucking sung to your grave by a cowboy. It's epic. Dr. Rock is just a fucking banger. Polo Asado just makes me hungry. Demon Sweat just makes me horny. Sketches of Winkle is another song that just fucking slaps. Released in 1992, I would say Pure Guava is probably one of my favorite Ween albums. It's last of what Ween call the brown era, that kind of lo-fi sound. While not all songs have that super lo-fi sound on this album, there are still quite a few. I would say this is Ween at its funnest. This album is just all over the place. This album is fucking everywhere. It goes to every corner of this fucking galaxy. Some people do not like this album. I don't know why. It ties back into like the Godwin Saint thing. A lot of it is just dumb fun. But I don't know, it's just a really fun, enjoyable album because it is just so many things. Push the Little Daisies was one that was, I believe, popular when this album released. It shouldn't work, but for some reason it does. It's, again, another very weird song. Reggae Junkie Jew is probably offensive, I would imagine. But there's a super cool marimba, distorted marimba part in the song that I reckon goes insanely hard. Sarah is another popular one from this album. It's very soothing. And then Don't Get Too Close to My Fantasy is just another one that just bangs. It's just a good song. Released in 1994, this is when Ween finally decided, hey, let's actually improve our production and stop recording everything on shitty tape recordings. So bye-bye Brown Era. While I don't like this album as much as some people, it is still a very good album. This album definitely has its bangers. It has some of the best Ween songs. Some of the best Ween songs are on this album. While I don't think this album has as much personality as some other Ween albums, it's a very quirky album. Very quirky. Like the pod, this album kind of just goes everywhere. Doesn't really have one set path for songs that I like from this album. Freedom of 76 is a slick as fuck song. Roses Are Free is as Ween gets, pretty much. Voodoo Lady fucking sounds amazing, and it's an incredibly groovy song. What Dina was talking about is just a really fucking good song. It's just a really solid, well done song. Yes, Ween. Released in 1996, 12 Golden Country Greats is just a country album. Ween just decided they were just going to make a country album. I don't particularly care about this album, as I don't like country music, any forms of it really. It has a couple fun songs on it, and it's a decent country album if you do like country music. While it does have its Ween quirks on each song, which makes it just about bearable for me to listen to. Like I said, it's country, I don't particularly care about it. For songs that I did like from it, Piss Up a Rope is a good song. It's one of the better ones from the album. And Help Me Scrape the Mucus Off My Brain is probably the only song I actively listen from this album. Released in 1997, The Mollusk is the most popular and well-known album, I would say, from Ween, and definitely their most critically acclaimed, maybe apart from Quebec. This album is mainly known from the song Ocean Man, which was the one SpongeBob song from the song from SpongeBob. Yeah, I know Ween. Yeah, the SpongeBob song. This album is fucking incredible. It's one of the best albums probably ever. It is just a work of art. The whole thing has this dreamy psych rock ocean vibe, and a lot of the songs are lyrically linked to the ocean as well. While it does occasionally go off theme, it's definitely Ween's most themed album, because I know a lot of people know this album from Ocean Man. There's songs that are on here that are definitely up to the same caliber as Ocean Man. If you haven't given this album a listen, then I would highly recommend it. The whole thing just sounds amazing as well. It's just a one-of-a-kind album. Songs that I like from this, there are a lot, but I won't be going over every single one. The Mollusk sounds amazing. It just makes me want to fucking jump into the ocean and just swim out into the middle of the ocean. I'll Be Your Johnny on the Spot. It's just high energy fun. Strays away from the ocean theme a bit, but it's kindly welcomed. Mutilated Lips sounds fucking amazing. It's probably the song that sounds the best on this album, I would say. It's Gonna Be Alright is written incredibly, very dreamy. It's just an amazing song. Ocean Man is Ocean Man. Everyone knows Ocean Man, and everyone knows how good of a song Ocean Man is. She Wanted to Leave, the last song on the album, is probably one of the best album closers ever, I would say. And it pretty much seals up the whole album perfectly, as well as being a very good song on its own. White Pepper, released in 2000. I'd say this is probably Ween's, if you can even say it, because it's Ween, but Ween's most normal album, which you would think would kind of take the point away from Ween. But this album is just solid, like accessible rock music pretty much. While it does lack personality that some of the other Ween albums have, the music alone is just really solid. There isn't a whole lot to it. Doesn't follow a theme. If like other Ween albums are like too like far listening to you, this one's probably a good place to start. Flute of Chi is a mad swayer, gets you swaying like the wind. Even if you don't, is also a very good song. Just a very solid song. My favorite out of the album, Pandy Fackler, is Hella Groovy. Released in 2003, Quebec is my personal favorite Ween album. Often there's a big discussion among Ween fans whether Quebec or The Mollusk is better, but I've always been a firm Quebec man myself. This album is absolutely all over the place, but still manages to be absolutely brilliant. It contains some of the best Ween songs that you can find in their whole discography. In fact, this whole album for me has no skips. Every single song in this album is at least like a solid 7. It's a bit of an outlier in the way that, at least for me, some of the songs are actually quite emotional, which is weird for Ween, because they don't usually do like tear-jerking songs. Starting off with like the discography, It's Gonna Be a Long Night is a hard rock headbanger. absolute drill of a song. Zoloft is basically just like any psychedelic experience compressed into like music form. Transdermal Celebration is just an excellent song. Among His Tribe is like peak campfire music. Tried and True is an absolutely gorgeous song, probably my favorite out of the entire Ween discography. The Argus is also just an amazing song. And then the closure of the album, If You Could Save Yourself, You'd Save Us All, is a perfect emotional closer. I don't think any other Ween album has as good as a closer of a closer.
Boys Club. Boys Club.
Released in 2005, Shinola Volume 1 is technically a compilation, but many Ween fans see it as an album, and it pretty much is an album. I'm not sure why it's labelled as a compilation, but who knows. If I could describe this like piss podge of an album, it would probably be half La Cucaracha and half White Pepper. But this album has always been very hit or miss for me. I think there are some good songs in this, but there are also some this album isn't too long either. It's pretty short. The songs, Did You See Me is a sweet song. Transitions is easily the best song on this album. Israel is super groovy, and again is probably one of the best songs on this album and a standout for this album. And Monique the Freak is just kind of like a goofy, fun one.
As she bounces through the blue sky.
Released in 2007, La Cucaracha, if I could describe it in one word, would just be goofy. This is a very goofy album. This album tries a lot of things, a lot of new things for Ween as well. It rarely hits the mark. Only a couple times does the outside of the boxness actually work. In the whole scheme of Ween's discography, it's a very forgettable album, and it doesn't get much traction, and it's very clear to see why if you ever do, for whatever reason, decide to give it a listen. But it does have the occasional moment, but it's not worth the entire listen. You can kind of tell, it came out later, that Ween was kind of falling apart by this stage, and you can kind of tell this album is very everywhere and doesn't feel structured at all. Fiesta, it's a fun, like, I guess, trumpet opener. Blue Balloon is fun and goofy. Friends is another just goofy, fun song. Lullaby gets quite a bit of hate, but I actually think it's quite sweet. I actually do like that song quite a bit. Woman and Man is easily the best song of the album and is a certified banger. But apart from that, everything else just kind of sucks and falls flat and ends up being very forgettable. Well, there you go. All 9 Ween albums. While I won't rank them, as I like to account for everyone's personal preferences, I hope I've given at least a basic to decent insight on each of the 9 albums. But anyway, bye.